to the ChrissieCast live from the compound. How are you loving the Ask Me Anything series? I, for one, am really enjoying it because maybe I'm a control freak, but I do not like my words being twisted in publications. And so for me to answer your questions directly is a real thrill because that's how human beings communicate. Am I right? You are locked and loaded on the ChrissieCast for another episode of Ask Me Anything. You've asked me lots of questions. I've collated them all. I've printed them off because I'm a very old lady and I love my Epson. And Rachel is joining us once again to be the facilitator, the moderator, if you will.
Let's get juicy, Chrissie. Get into the questions. All right, let's kick this off with a fun one, Chrissie. Linda Morris has a very deep question here. I need to know.
Yeah.
Is it okay to let the dog lick the dishes before or when in the dishwasher? It seems environmentally friendly, but judgy family members think it's disgusting and needs to stop. Please provide a ruling, Judge Chrissie.
All right. I am all for this. I think it's excellent. However, to just make life easier for you and the dog, you must not tell other people that you're doing this. You don't need the opinions of your family. If you are happy with your decision, and I understand why you are, the dog gets a little treat. I mean, what dog doesn't love a scrap? Secondly, it's better off in the dog's tummy than in the filter of the dishwasher. Is there anything more disgusting than that job? I can't stand it. It's slimy. It's weird. I can never get the thing back. It's just a nightmare. So, I've got Murphy at home, beautiful Murphy. And look, I have been known to just, like if I'm clearing out the fridge and there's some ham and it's just him and me at home, which is often, I'll just throw it on the floor.
Yeah.
And he'll eat it.
They're going to lick it up. That's fine. It's mopping.
Exactly. And I don't take it out to his bowl or anything. I just go, there you go, chicken skin, all of it on the floor, because I clean the floors every day.
Why do you think people are so offended by them licking the dishes before the dishes get washed, though?
Well, I just think that's insane because the dishes are about to be properly, hygienically cleaned if your dishwasher is anything like 65 degrees. So it's like, this is a win-win situation. Go ahead and do it with bravery and conviction. The only thing is, unless you want to also argue with people that don't agree with you, make sure you keep it on the down low. If you're happy with your decision and you can justify it and you don't mind a fight, everyone can see it. Who cares? Who cares what people think, by the way?
The judge has spoken, Linda.
Yeah.
Go forth. All right. Mim Sal has said, Chrissie, if you could change anything in the whole wide world, what would it be?
It would be society's obsession with the size of women. That would be the one thing I would change.
I love that. Well, Ange Terps would like to know, what would your superpower be?
That's an interesting one because I think there are two types of people. One that there's one type of person that goes for like flying, those sorts of physical things. And then there are other ones that, and I've never understood this, they want to read people's minds. They want to be invisible and, be in rooms where, secrets are being told. I've got no interest in that. Does that make me like self-centered? I don't care whatever people get up to on their own. I really don't care. So I don't want to see it. I don't want to sneak around. I don't want to know what people think of me because I don't care.
Fair.
I really don't care. That's another thing. I met somebody recently that was so concerned with what other people thought, and I just can't understand it. What is the point? Who cares what people think of you? Who cares? It's a one-way ticket to misery because who cares? It's their opinion. You can't change it. And if it's not true, what does it matter what they think? I've just never cared what people think of me. Never.
Chrissie, Penny Jean McGuinness wants to know, has there been a time that you should have trusted your gut but didn't?
No. I've always trusted my gut. Although this year I've learnt to delay the decision that comes from my gut. So I think previously I've been my gut feel is this, bang, there's the decision. This year I've learnt to always listen to my gut, which is 100% what I've always done, but I've let the decision linger a bit. So I've gone, okay, my gut feel is this. Instead of taking action on it that day, I've walked on it and really interrogated whether or not that is right. And sometimes it changes.
Some would say you've digested it.
Correct, in the gut. Correct. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it with that. Some would say I've shattered out the other end.
Hey.
But yeah, I've learnt that, and I do recommend that because the gut, the main decision hasn't changed, but action gets just a bit more refined in terms of the next step. So how things work is for me, problem is thrown at me. What is the problem? Digest the problem. What is my gut feel on what the answer to this problem is? Right, there's the answer. Next step, action. And that normally happens within 24 hours. Now, the problem arrives. My gut feel is this. Let's just wait a minute and think about it for a few days. Tuesday, is that still your gut feel? Yes. Wednesday, is that still your gut feel? Yes. But what are you going to do about it? How are you going to table this with other people? Because most problems involve other people.
That's true.
Yeah. And to get the right outcome that is like fair and kind for everybody, depending on the complexities of the initial problem, the first kind of course of action is rarely the right one. So particularly when you're talking about other people's emotions and how your decisions affect other people. So I just let it marinate for a bit. Marinate. And then eventually I come to a conclusion where it's not the ideal outcome for me, but I can live with it. It's 80% there. And I feel like the same situation applies to the person that it involves. Might not be the ideal outcome for them, but it's 80% there.
So you can go with your gut without shitting on anyone.
Correct.
Amen.
Including yourself. Sometimes your gut reaction shits on yourself, and then you blindly go into something and go, that's what I want. And then that just causes more problems because it's unkind.
And then you have to buy new undies.
Exactly.
What a mess. What a
new
mess.
mattress protector.
Kay Wilson 1105 has said, what's the scariest decision you've had to make, but in hindsight was the best success?
I think when I left my life in Melbourne and moved to Queensland to start a whole new career in radio, that was pretty scary. But, obviously was the right move because my whole life has been so fun and interesting and magical and joyous because of that. I think having a baby is an extraordinary leap of faith because nobody knows what they're doing the first time at all. And, that's been a magical adventure for me. Being a mother has been just so fun and interesting. A lot, because I'm also a very responsible person. It's funny, when you go through your reports, as a kid, when you're old like me, because I'm 50 now.
Wait, going through reports from when you were a kid or your kids' report?
No, when you go through your reports when you were a kid, and you're halfway through your life, you can see absolutely who you always were. And the words, that always come up for me, of course, in reports are, easily distracted, could do better if she concentrated, has to understand that school is not just for fun. Beg to differ, by the way. And also, she is a very responsible child, very responsible girl. And I think that, that really is my character, and it has shaped particularly how I am as a mother, because I do feel so responsible for those kids, and I feel responsible for giving them a really nice time, and I feel responsible for giving them the experience in a safe way of what life can be when they're out on their own and grown-ups. I like to give them a little show bag of that at home. So I treat my house like a microcosm of real life, almost like the Big Brother house, I guess. And I don't even though my natural kind of instinct is to try and make everything perfect, I've really tried over the last 4 or 5 years to not do that, because I feel like that's giving them a disservice. It means that they'll get out there in the real world and be like, oh, hang on, I've never had to deal with somebody that leaves shitty skid marks in the toilet, or I've never had to negotiate my way out of someone finding my secret snack stash and stealing it, or I've never had to deal with working with somebody who is sad sometimes, or I've never had to navigate myself when I'm sad. And what does that look like in the real world? So at my place, if I'm having a bad day, I don't pretend I'm not. I'm really honest, because they have to see that life is not always amazing. And that is amazing. That is amazing about life, is that it isn't always amazing, and that you have to work out ways to deal with yourself and with other people that are up and down and that have feelings and might be tired or might not be getting what they want in their environment, and how that looks. So I really enjoy that part of parenting, as well as, the showing of kindness and safety and support and acceptance of whoever you are. I think that's also important for them to experience. But if I want to burst out crying, I do. Whereas I think a lot of mothers, in my mother's generation, kind of made a big show of being above reproach, of being perfect. And I feel like my role as the grown-up with 50 years experience of what this wild ride is, I feel like my responsibility to them is to show them that there are good days and there are bad days, and they are all okay. Does that make sense?
It does.
But the overwhelming desire, I think particularly for women who are generally people pleasers, the default is, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not tired. I'm not emotional. I haven't had a shit day. That this person hasn't let me down. It's fine that, everyone's avoiding unpacking the dishwasher because they know that I'll do it. I'm fine with that. I'm not fine with any of it, and I make sure that they know.
I love that. Well, before we let you go, Chrissie, we need 3 of your favourite tips for a good day. This is Christie Lee by the Sea asking this one.
Christie Lee by the Sea. Well, look at you showing off with your location. 3 things you need for a good day. 1. Well, all I can do is tell you what I do, because the best thing you'll ever do is take some time out to get to know yourself and ask yourself what you actually like and what you actually do. And let me tell you, that is different for every single human being. For me, what makes me happy is time alone at some stage. And I'm not talking the drive into work or the drive home. Just half an hour completely by myself.
What do you do when you're alone?
Well, I often multitask, so that's often the walking.
Mm-hmm.
If I can walk somewhere, that gives me an endorphin rush like you wouldn't believe, because I feel like I'm really looking after myself. And also I find that, I'll probably get deeper into my whole walking thing, my obsession, in another episode. But what makes me happy in a day is some time alone, planning to cook/cooking. So it's enough for me to just plan. Like at the moment, I'm putting together the steps to make a creme brulee for the first time. That involves a little bit of Googling, finding the best recipe, finding the shit recipes, doing a deep dive on what is pure cream and where do I get it, all of that stuff. So that is a thrill for me, a little bit of research. So if I can cook or plan to cook, have some time alone and get a reasonable sleep, and specifically not be rushing to bed. If I can not rush to bed, that's a good day for me. And keep in mind, in between all of that, I work and organise the house and make sure my kids are good physically and mentally. And anybody that has children understands that the mental side of things really takes a lot of love and energy. It reminds me sometimes, that old film Cocoon? Do you remember it?
Tell me about it.
Before your time. So it's set in a retirement village.
Cute.
And the residents find a magic pool.
Oh, you like magic things. Cool.
I do love magic things.
All right, magic pool.
Magic door, magic pool. And they get in the pool and it makes them young again. So they get addicted to this pool, of course, as we all do. And there's this one scene where one of the old dudes, long since dead, he pulls his eye open and a beam of energy comes out of it. Mm-hmm. And I've always remembered that scene because sometimes I feel like that is what I do every day is just like beams of energy going out to people. And that is not a complaint. That brings me a lot of joy. But at some point every day, you need to top that up. You need to top that up so that next time you open up your eyes, there's still a beam there and it's not just like,
static noise.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for sharing those 3 tips, Chrissie. We have hundreds more questions that we are going to get through.
Oh, I can't wait. And that's it for another round of the very special series of Ask Me Anything. They're your questions. I'm just answering them here on the ChrissieCast live from the compound. Now I need a rest and I'll be back with more answers as soon as I possibly can.